It is never too late and you are never too old to reinvent yourself. You can decide today that everything you have done in your entire life up until this point, up until this very moment in time where you're watching me on your screen, is completely irrelevant. You can choose to not only start a new chapter of your life, but a completely new book of your life that allows you to live out the life and persona that you ultimately want to become. As always, I have all of the timestamps to this video over here off to the side because I'm not in the process of wasting your time, because I want you to start reinventing yourself this very second. If you like these videos on reinventing yourself, becoming your best self, and aligning yourself to the ultimate person that you want to become, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more of these videos because I am so excited for what's to come for you and for me in 2024. A lot of people have this preconceived notion that our past equals our future, and it honestly doesn't have to be that way if you choose to not let it be that way. If you choose to not let your past override and overrun your future. I used to think that the person who I was going to be the person that I was always going to be. Growing up, I was shy, soft-spoken, not confident, anxious, nervous, confused, didn't really know what I wanted in life, and that does not have to be it unless you want it to be that way. Honestly though, the biggest conflict that we as humans have on a daily basis is this need to remain consistent with our identity and how we are identifying ourselves. You could identify yourself as a surfer, a lawyer, a college dropout, a skater, a backpacker. That a lot of the times is what we feel is our only identity, but that doesn't have to be the case if you want to change it. You don't always have to identify yourself with that one thing for the rest of your life. This idea of needing to remain constant and consistent with how you identify yourself is how you stay stuck and how you inhibit and hinder yourself from actually growing, evolving, and expanding and getting closer to your ultimate dream self and reality. When I graduated college, I was literally so lost because for most of my life, for about 21 years of my life, my only real main identity was a student. I was an elementary school student, a middle school student, a high school student, a college student. When I graduated, I was lost. My identity quite literally flushed down the toilet because I had graduated and I was not going off to another master's program or graduate program to get another degree where I could continue being a student. I had to reinvent and rebrand myself and figure out a new identity. What did I learn along the way was that I can have so many identities and I can have so many different versions of myself living at different times of my life where I don't need to be stuck to the same identity for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years of my life. I can continuously evolve and change and become any type of person that I want to become. The process of reinventing yourself allows you to live out all of your dreams. I personally have all these big dreams in my head. I want to become a yogi in Costa Rica. I want to surf in Bali. I want to be a backpacker across Europe. I want to live out a fun life in New York City. And those are just like a few of the lives that I want to live, that I will be able to live by consistently rebranding myself and aligning myself to who I want to become. And just as a reminder, you have the complete ability to be the creator of your own life if you decide to start taking action and aligned action. I am taking you out of this planning phase, out of this dreaming phase, out of this analysis paralysis phase, and helping you actually start taking actionable steps to become the next type of persona that you want to become today. Because let me tell you, you deserve to live a life that you are freaking obsessed with. Now, what is reinvention? Reinvention is the process of changing something so much that it appears almost entirely new. So we're not creating anything from scratch. We're not starting from scratch. You are your own persona with past experiences, with all these dreams, goals, and desires. You're taking this current version of yourself, this right here, you're taking this and just revamping it a little bit, changing a few things up. We are not in the art of reinventing the wheel. We are not just starting from scratch, creating something out of thin air, because we already have a model to work off of and improve on. For example, take the iPhone. The phone had been a thing for a while. You had the little flip phones, you had the slide phones. Apple didn't create something completely brand new. Apple had taken ideas from other previous cell phones and basically just reinvented it. It gave us a touch screen, and throughout the process, we have had different iterations of iPhones. We've had the iPhone 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we're at like 14 now. We are taking the iPhone and creating new iterations of the iPhone, but with ourselves. we are taking ourselves and creating, reinventing ourselves to become a different model, a different version, an upgraded version of ourselves to help us live out the life that we so truly desire. But please do remember that the process of reinvention is a journey. The steps might be simple. The steps that I'm going to be outlining for you in this video might be as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. It's not that simple, and it's not always going to happen overnight or in the blink of an eye. It actually takes some work. The main thing that you need in order to even start, in order to even begin thinking about reinventing yourself, is a why. What is your why? What is the driving force behind you that's making you want to make this conscious decision of reinventing and rebranding yourself into a new persona? You have to have a why that is so deeply ingrained in you, so deeply ingrained in your beliefs and your vision for yourself, because that is what is going to make you wake up in the morning, take those actionable steps, actually start becoming who you want to become. If you have a why that's maybe a little bit weaker, you might start taking some steps, but you might find yourself not that interested after a week or a month, and you might just give up and go back and revert back to the persona that you had been before going on this process, before embarking on the process of reinventing yourself. So the first homework for you is to figure out your why. Why do you want to change your life? Why do you want a different life? Why is this process, why is this idea and notion of reinventing yourself important for you? And now we're going to talk about my personal reinvention before we actually get into the tips of how you can start reinventing your life. As I said earlier, I have reinvented myself so many times throughout my entire life, but most recently I stopped a recent reinvention, and I'm currently in the same phase as you. I'm in this working and aligning myself to my future self. Take it back a little bit. I graduated college during COVID. Like I said, my identity was always a student. I always identified myself as a student. That was all I ever knew in my entire life. So when I graduated, especially during COVID, it was a little bit difficult for me to transition into the real world, especially since we all had to be quarantined and I didn't really get access to that real world that I thought I would if I had graduated during like normal times per se. I felt lost, I was uneasy, I was stressed, I was anxious, I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. During COVID, I decided I needed to continue to push myself out of my comfort zone. I picked up social media, which was something I had always wanted to do, but I hadn't ever identified myself as someone outgoing, as someone who could publish their entire life on social media, so I never did up until COVID, and that was the biggest push out of my comfort zone. That was the biggest boost of self-esteem, of confidence that I could have given myself. I fully allowed myself to trust myself and where the next path was taking me down. Also, during this time of me starting social media, I shortly started my first full-time job as a business analyst. I was working a full-time job, making my own salary, saving money, and I decided to move to Miami with my then boyfriend. I had only ever lived in a small hometown in Virginia, and I had never really lived anywhere else. I went to college in Virginia. I had obviously gone on like vacations throughout my life, but I had never thought I would be capable of fully moving states away, hours away. Miami to where my parents' hometown is, or where my hometown is a 16 to 17 hour drive. I moved with my then boyfriend knowing no one. We only knew each other. I threw myself into this process of reinventing myself because I knew that by moving to Miami, I would have to full on push myself out of my comfort zone, make friends, become my new self, and just try all the things and allow myself to embrace all the uncertainties, the unknowns, and the adventures that my life there would take on. I lived there for 2 years. I had an amazing time. I had an amazing life. I picked up so many new hobbies. I became my own persona. I started finding my voice again. I picked up so much on social media. I've learned so much, and now I'm back at my parents' house. I ended my long-term relationship. I moved out of Miami. I closed that chapter, and honestly I closed that entire book of that persona that I had been for those last 2 years in Miami. I'm again right alongside with you guys in the process of reinventing myself. I'm currently 26 years old, living in my parents' house in my hometown, in my childhood bedroom, but I know that this year is going to be the year where my reinvention is probably going to be one of the best reinventions I have ever had in my entire life, because I can feel it in my bones. My why is so deeply ingrained within me that I just know that everything that I'm setting myself out for is going to come to fruition, and I know I know the same thing is going to happen for you guys. But now let's get into the process. Step 1 is self-reflection. Self-reflection is basically the process of identifying what is currently going on in all aspects of your life. And I mean all aspects. I'm not just saying in 1 or in 2 or in 3. I mean all aspects. This means personal, relationships, finance, travel, career, friendships. I need you to reflect on them. Really pay attention to all the things that you are going through, that you have gone through, and that you will be going through to help identify what you need to work on, what could use some improvement. Earlier I mentioned analysis paralysis, where a lot of us might get stuck in this planning, researching, and analyzing phase, where that's pretty much where you're putting all your time and energy to. I used to just plan and plan and plan and plan and plan and plan. Literally every second of every day, I would just sit and plan. I wouldn't take action. So I don't want this to take all that long. I want you to analyze and self-reflect on all these areas, but don't let it take more than an hour or 2 hours. I don't want this to take more than a day, because I want you to actually get the ball rolling. And since I do like analyzing things, and since I am quite literally still a business analyst, there's something I like to do, which is a SWOT analysis, which is basically you analyzing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. What are all the things that you are doing that are either hindering you, that are helping you? What opportunities are around you that can contribute to you becoming who you want to be? And what might be some threats? Are you self-sabotaging? If you are self-sabotaging, I highly recommend this book. I forgot my mom's reading that book right now because I just recommended it to her for the new year, but it's The Mountain is in You by Brianna Weiss. If you're self-sabotaging, this is one of the best books I have read about self-sabotage. It is literally phenomenal, and it will help you get to the root cause of why you're self-sabotaging, why you're procrastinating, why you're putting things off, why you are lacking confidence, why you don't believe you can succeed. It talks about imposter syndrome, all of those things and more. So do your little SWOT analysis, determine if you're self-sabotaging, and if you are, once again, The Mountain is in You is one of the best books I have read about self-sabotage. Step number 2 is to feel your feelings. And I know this can be tricky, and I know it can be hard for a lot of people. It can be a huge push out of your comfort zone. Trust me, I get it. I used to be that same way up until 2 years ago. I never let anyone in on how I was feeling. I would always talk to people about them and their feelings and try to help out their feelings and how they were doing and all of those things, but I would never let anyone in on literally how I was feeling. I would always have this weight on my shoulders. I would always have all these racing thoughts on my mind. I was so anxious. The way I started feeling my feelings before I actually allowed myself to voice them out to other people was by journaling. Journaling quite literally changed my entire life. It has had such a significant impact in my life. I have 2 journals here, 3 journals here that are all basically filled from the last 3 years of me feeling my feelings. I want you to feel what you're going through, whether you're going through a breakup, whether you're going through the loss of someone in your family or in your life, or of a friendship, a loved one, if you lost your job, if you feel lonely. I want you to write all of those things down. The best way you can do this is by doing some shadow work. I personally just go on Pinterest and I look up shadow journal prompts, shadow work prompts, shadow work. Literally, so many things are going to pop up on Pinterest. You can think of shadow work as basically an umbrella for unpacking traumas, limiting beliefs, and an unhealthy mindset. I would personally get a dedicated journal for shadow work or for feeling your feelings, because you need to get to the root cause of what has happened in your life in order to move on and continue going through becoming your best self. You need to go through everything that has led up to this moment in time and really understand how that has impacted you and your life. Within this journal, you can also not only just do shadow work, but you can also show gratitude. And I show gratitude in such a simple way, which is every single day, or as often as I remember, I write down 1 to 5 things that I am grateful for literally the second I wake up. I say I'm grateful for a good night's rest, for my smoothie, for the run I might go on later, for my family, for my pets, for whatever it may be. Just write down those things, because it's going to get you in such a better mindset and allow you to actually be grateful and positive. And what does that do? That is elevating your energy. That is elevating your aura or your vibe, which is going to make the process of attracting your future self that much easier, because that future self is on a higher frequency than you might be on right now. So by showing gratitude, by going through shadow work and all of those things, you're kind of expelling the negative and raising finding the positive and attracting your future self to your current self. Also in this journal, homework number 2-ish that I want you to do is to write down a complete day in the life from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, every single thing that you are doing on a basic day in detail. The most in-depth that you can do. I don't want this to be 3 sentences. I don't want this to be 2 paragraphs. This needs to be like 3-5 pages long. Every single thing you do, from how you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're eating, what you're wearing. I need you to write that down. I don't need you to lie and say, I wake up every morning and I am so happy to go to work. If you hate your job, you're likely not happy to go to work. If you don't like where you're at in life currently, you're likely not that ecstatic about living your day-to-day life because you're not where you actually want to be. I need you to be as real, as raw, and as honest as you can be in this day in the life of your current self, because step number 3 is to be a little delusional and pick a character that you want to embody for the next week, for the next month, for the next 3 months, for the next 6 months, for the next year. I don't care how long that timeline or time frame that you choose for yourself, but I need you to pick a character. And what I mean by a character, this can be Pilates princess, it can be Range Rover mom, it can be multi-7-figure successful entrepreneur, it can be billionaire, it can be a musician, it can be a Grammy or award-winning artist or actor. I need you to pick whatever character that aligns to your future self or to that persona that you want to reinvent or rebrand yourself to. We already wrote down a day in the life of our current self. I need you to write a day in the life of that person. You chose that character. You are choosing to embody this persona. You likely already know how they are living, even if you don't actually know them. If you decided to choose an artist, for example, Taylor Swift or Zac Efron or honestly whoever, you probably kind of know how they are maybe going throughout their day. If you chose something more like Pilates princess, that girl, Range Rover mom, 6-figure entrepreneur, you probably also know somewhat some sense of how they're going about their days. So you're gonna write a complete day in the life of your character from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, and every single little thing in between. I need you to write down, what does their morning look like? What do they eat? Who are they friends with? Are they confident? What does their financial status look like? What are they doing? Are they traveling? What are they wearing? What makeup do they wear? What skincare do they use? How do they style their hair? I need you to write down all of those things, because the next step number 4, is to bridge the gap between your current self and this character that you have chosen to embody over the next course of whatever timeline you have chosen. What does bridge the gap mean? You are taking what you wrote down for yourself and what you wrote down for your character and aligning it. So if you wrote down for yourself that you're waking up at 10 a.m. groggy, still tired, drained of energy, not looking forward to your days, but for your character self you wrote down that they are waking up at 7 a.m. energized, ready for the day, looking forward to closing on clients, making $10,000, whatever it may be, you're aligning those things. What can you do right now that will help you align to this character version of yourself? That is bridging the gap. So basically, right now you're waking up at 10 or 9, they're waking up at 7. So start waking up earlier, little by little. Maybe start 9:30, 9, 8, slowly, so you can adapt yourself to waking up earlier, so it's not just doing everything cold turkey, because that is going to burn you out. And you're going to do that for every aspect of what you wrote down. If you're currently not really putting in that much effort and energy into getting dressed or your personal style or your hair, your makeup, your skincare, but it's something that you want to be doing, that your character does, you're going to start taking those aligned actions to bridge the gap between those two different things. Most of us think that we have to make these massive, drastic changes in order to completely change your life, but really, a lot of the things that we have to do are super easy, super simple, and easily accessible to us. It is not that difficult to start waking up earlier. It's not that difficult to start incorporating maybe one more healthy meal into your day, or to styling your hair the night before you have an important meeting, or to start reading 10 pages a day, or drinking more water, or moving your body. There's such small, simple steps that you can do every single day that's going to help you align to your ideal rebranded, reinvented self. And if you're having trouble picking a character, I love to go on Pinterest. I'm Pinterest all the time to get inspiration for all things my life, all things literally anything. And you can get so much ideas, so many inspirations on Pinterest for the character that you're choosing to become, or for ideas of a character that you want to become. The entire purpose of picking a character is that we aren't starting from scratch. I told you, we are not reinventing the wheel. We're not pulling something out of thin air. We are not starting from scratch. We already have the model of ourselves, and the character is basically just helping us pull some things into our own lives. And if you're still getting a little stuck on this whole day in the life thing, if you want to get a little help, have a little assistance, you can easily use ChatGPT and type in day in the life of a Pilates princess, day in the life of a Range Rover mom, day in the life of a six-figure entrepreneur, and get an idea of whatever outline that they outlined in their response to you. It is literally so simple to start changing your life today. You have so many resources. You have an endless amount of resources. You just need to take advantage of them. Step number 5 is exposure therapy. You're actually going to become the main character of your life. You're going to become this character that you have chosen and live it out on a daily basis, or as frequently as you're able to, because obviously I know we're not always going to be able to pretend that we're a Range Rover mom if we're stuck working a 9-to-5 desk job. But take it one step at a time, because there are possibilities that you're able to do this. What does a Range Rover mom do? She might do some yoga, she might go on walks, she might do Pilates. I need you to do that exposure. I need you to get out of your comfort zone. When I decided to start on social media, when I decided to get out of my comfort zone, boost my confidence, become my best self, and start posting my life on social media, I needed to do that exposure therapy. I was taking videos and photos out in public, and it was so embarrassing. There's people looking at you, staring at you, pointing at you. What did it do? It helped me grow my confidence, it helped push me out of my comfort zone, and it has brought me so many opportunities over these past several years, and I am forever grateful for the exposure therapy that I made myself do. I didn't want to. I wasn't looking forward to it. It was scary, nerve-wracking, anxiety-inducing, but I did it, and it helped me become the persona that I currently am. If that's too scary, if that thought of exposure therapy is too scary, just switch it up a little bit. Instead of saying exposure therapy, do it for the plot. Whatever you're doing, do it for the plot. Whatever your character is doing, do it for the plot. Do it to make your life more exciting. Our life sometimes can get very repetitive and monotonous. Do it for the plot. Start doing things that are going to bring more excitement, more enjoyment, more adventure, more stories to your life. Part of the journey, part of the excitement of reinvention is that middle ground. It's that unknown. It's that uncertainty. It's that building phase. It's going from point A to point B. It's that in between. That is kind of part of the exciting part, because you are seeing yourself change day after day after day, shift into the person that you want to become. Step number 6 is to build a routine. Whatever it was that you needed to do to bridge the gap between person A, aka your current self, and person B, aka your persona, your main character, the person that you chose, is what your routine is going to consist of. Whether it's waking up early, going to bed earlier, reading, taking some classes, talking to new people, creating a set makeup routine or skincare routine, finding your style, whatever it is, put that into your routine. Create a daily routine, a day in the life, a schedule, a time frame of what you need to do every single day that's going to help you get from point A to point B. And lastly, I don't want you to just do all of this on paper. I don't want you to go through this entire process, go through this entire video, write everything on paper, and leave it on paper. The point of this is to actually start taking action. How many times have I said action in this video? If you can count it, please let me know, because I know it's been so many times that I've said action. I need you to start taking that aligned action to help you become the person that you want to become. Don't just go through all of these steps and leave it all on paper. I need you to start taking action, hold yourself accountable, and start becoming your future self. The last little caveat of this video is I need you to reevaluate yourself, whether it's every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, every year. Reevaluate yourself and the character or persona that you have decided to embody on a regular basis to make sure that either that character is still aligned to you or you are still aligned to that character, so that you can go through this process of rebranding and reinventing whenever you see fit. But that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I cannot wait to see how you decide to rebrand and reinvent yourself. So if you've made it this far, I want you to comment down below what persona, what main character, what person you're deciding to embody. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do love reinvention videos, rebranding videos, becoming your best self, make sure to click the subscribe button, because I have so many more videos to come for you guys, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!